Hey MFam Tribe, welcome back and thanks for joining. So as promised, I mentioned last week that I would be watching the Dancing with the Stars new season, the 20th anniversary season, and I finally was able to watch the premiere. So I wanted to give you a little bit of a hot take on what my kind of thoughts were with the dancing and such like that. So if you're watching along, I would love to know what your kind of thoughts were as well. So make sure you comment below and let me know what you think. So first up, we started with Jordan, and she was doing the salsa. Her scores were a 5 and a 5. She is very athletic, and it kind of came through a little bit with the stiffness of the legs, and you could definitely tell that there were some nerves going on. But overall, I thought she did a really great job. The gymnasts typically do really, really well in this kind of a competition. So I'm sure once the season kind of goes on and she gets a little bit more comfortable and loosens up a little bit, I think that she's going to be on point and on track with the route that the gymnasts typically take. So as far as her scores, I kind of would agree with Derek and Bruno with the 5. So if I had to give my paddle, I would probably go right around a 5 with her too. So on point with that one. Next up, we had Dylan Efron, which you may know as Zac Efron's brother. Overall, scores again were a 5 and a 5. His nerves definitely were there. You could absolutely tell. I think if he's just a little bit more fluid with his movements, I think it'll work out a little bit better for him. But overall, again, really great job. He definitely had a good beat, staying with the music and such like that. And I agree with Derek, with Danny being such a strong and powerful dancer, he's definitely going to have to kind of match that energy a little bit. But still, overall, for a first dance, not too bad. So he did really well. Next up, we had Elaine Hendricks, and she did the cha-cha with Alan. Her scores were a 6 and a 6. Oh, I forgot to say for Dylan. I would agree with the score for him as well. Again, my paddle would be a 5 as well. So I think, again, I'd have to agree with the judges on that. But back to Elaine. So she did such a fantastic job. And to kind of hear her backstory a little bit with her being involved in dance and then not being able to dance and being afraid that she might never dance again, I think overall she really did an awesome job. So kudos to you, Elaine. I think if she has sharper hits with her movements and stuff like that, and she loosens up just a little bit, I think she's gonna be right up there in the top. So at the end of this, I'll kind of give you my thoughts on who I think it'll kind of come down to for maybe the final 3 and final 4 too. So see what you think with that. Next up, we had Whitney Levitt, who is one of the Secret Lives of Mormon Wives. And she is partnered with Mark Ballas. I'm so glad that he's back. I just absolutely love him. And she did the tango, and her frame was so good, you guys, so good. Now, I'm not a ballroom dancer by any means, but kind of know a thing or two about dancing, but her frame was really, really good. She had very good attack with every step and combination that she made. And I mean, Mark just brings that out in his partners. So really well done dance. And it was very, very mid-season-esque type dancing. So to see that already in week 1 is watch out. This is going to be a really good season. So her scores were about a 7 and an 8. I think I would lean more towards the 7 aspect, because there's always room to grow. But I mean, she did pretty darn good for her first time out. So kudos on that. Next, we had Barron, who did the cha-cha with Miss Brittany Stewart, who just recently got married. So congratulations to her and Daniel. He really had some good moves and some great footwork. I think he needs to add a little bit more dancing to it, because it was more, he wasn't really walking through the motions of it, but I just felt there maybe could have been a little bit more of a dance finesse to it. But overall, I think he did really well. And usually, again, with the athletes, they do tend to have that a little bit of stiffness to them because they're so used to, you know, being protective. But overall, I think he did pretty well for his first time out. So I think once he kind of gets a little bit more groove to him, I'm pretty sure he'll do pretty well this season. Okay, so next up we have Alex Earl, who is a social media influencer, and she is dancing with Mr. Val Schmirkovsky. Just love those Schmirkovsky boys. But she did the cha-cha. She had really great movements, y'all. She really did. And she moves around that dance floor so good. And love the song, of course, Miss Britney Spears, Circus, you can never go wrong. She needs to have just a little bit more extension overall in the arms and the legs, but you know, if she just a smidge more keeps moving with that, she you know, strengthens those out, and she's gonna be one to watch for sure this season. So her scores were a 7 and a 6. And I think I would lean more towards the 7. She did a really awesome job. So very, very well done. So keep an eye on her. She's definitely one to see. And then we have Mr. Scott Hoying, who did the tango with Miss Riley Arnold. She's just too cute. And I think that this pairing is perfectly done this season for sure. And if you don't know who Scott is, he is from the group Pentatonics, who is absolutely amazing. He had a really good attack to every movement that he had, and with the song being Abracadabra by Lady Gaga, it's very, very strong. So he definitely had the attack on that for sure. And he definitely kept on beat. I did see a little bit of nerves peek out in him, which is so ironic because he is a singer and performs on all these stages worldwide. But dancing is definitely a little bit of a different animal. But he did pretty well. So I definitely, I give him kudos. He did a really great job. For him, his scores were a 5 and a 5. I think I might disagree with the judges, and I think I might have to give him a 6 for my paddle. So just a little bit better, but of course always room for improvement, but really not too bad overall. And then the one that I have really been waiting for, Miss Danielle Fishel, or known as Topanga Lawrence from Boy Meets World and the spinoff Girl Meets World. This is my girl. This is my childhood right here. So I was waiting to see her, and she really did a fantastic job. She had a great energy about her. She moved around the floor great. I think if she just straightens out her lines a little bit more, and she has a little bit of a stronger frame, because she would be in it and then she'd be out of it. So overall not terrible, but if she just really figures out that framing a little bit more, she's gonna do so well this season. I have all the hopes in the world for her. She's one I'm hoping that definitely goes to the finals. So let's see how far Miss Danielle Fishel goes. But she ended up with a 6 and a 6, and I think the judges were right on point with that. So I would have to agree. My little paddle would say a 6 as well. So well done, Miss Danielle Fishel / Topanga Lawrence. So there's that. And then we had Jen Affleck after that. She did the salsa with one of our newer pros, Jan, this year, who came off of the Taylor Swift Eras tour. So that's a big excitement right there. But she had a really good energy about her. Definitely the Latina came out in her. I think if her feet were like just a little bit cleaner, like pointing wise, and just placement, and then also if she strengthens her leg work a little bit, she'll be right up there. So she's another one that was one of the secret Mormon housewives. I obviously don't watch the show, but I've definitely heard of her. But I would have to agree with the judges' scores, which were a 6 and a 6. So I think they're right on point with that, and I would also give her a 6 if it were my paddle thrown into the mix. So job well done. Next, we had Corey Feldman dancing with Miss Jenna Johnson, and they did the tango. He was another one I was kind of interested to see how he would do. He definitely had a great attack with everything that he did, and he needs to point his toes a little bit, and also again loosen, some of the moves. I didn't understand too much of the solo break that he did. Because especially with a tango, you're always in a hold. But I don't know. That's not for me to decide. I know that they can have some kind of a solo break in there. I didn't think it was allowed to be in the middle, but overall, I think he did a very good job from what I was thinking that he might do. So that was definitely a pleasant surprise. And of course, you got to love the MJ movements in there too, so you can't go wrong with that. But his scores were a 4 and a 5. If I had to put my panel up, I think I'd go for a 5. Yeah, I don't think he did too bad. So well done, Mr. Feldman. Good job. Next we had, don't mind me, I'm looking at my notes that I made on my computer. Next up, we had Lauren from Fifth Harmony with Mr. Brandon Armstrong. He's such a sweetie. I just absolutely love him. So I like this pairing of them together. She kept up really well, for sure. And she did a really good job. She does need to be a little bit more confident in her holds, and also when she's solo, just a little bit more. She did seem like the nerves did creep in there, which again, she's another one who is a performer on stage, singing in front of, thousands and thousands of people all over the world. But again, the dancing side of it is totally different. So understandably so. And then if she just points her toes a little bit more, but overall, I thought that her performance was really good. She's another one that I think once she kind of gets in that groove, I think she's going to be a strong dancer. So stay tuned on that one. Her scores were a 7 and a 6. I think I would have to lean towards the 6 paddle on this one. So not too bad, but again, just those few things, and I think she'll do very well in the competition. Then we have Mr. Andy Richter with Miss Emma Slater, who she's another one. She's just too cute, and I just squeeze her cheeks. She's just so much fun. Obviously, going into it, there's preconceived notions because he's a comedian and, just out there. So didn't know what you were going to get, but surprisingly, he didn't do too bad at all. It was very, very playful, and he was smiling through the whole thing, and I just absolutely loved watching that one. So it was a lot of fun. He was tending to be very flat-footed as he was moving through, but I know Emma, and she works so well with these celebrities, because she does tend to get the little bit more challenging ones, and she always does such a really good job. So it's definitely in her wheelhouse, and I feel like she will be able to bring the best out in him. So if anybody can get him to improve, it's definitely Miss Emma Slater. So I have all the faith in the world in you, girl. So his scores were a 5 and a 4. I would give him, I'd have to lean towards a 5, because he just had that entertainment value and just made you so happy watching him. So I would have to give it, I would go for a 4 on the technique of it all, but throw in the entertainment value of it, and I'd have to bump it up to a 5. So I think he did a pretty good job for a first time out. So I'll give that to him. I'll give him a 5. And then our second to last one is Miss Hilaria Baldwin, who is married to Mr. Alec Baldwin. She had such a good energy, and her hip movements were really well done. She, I think, is going to be one to watch through the season, absolutely, for sure. If she just has maybe a little bit more fluidity in her arms, and maybe just pick up the pace a little bit with the leg movements, she's going to be dynamite for sure. But she did absolutely fantastic. Her scores were a 7 and a 7 for her cha-cha. I think I'd have to agree right there. But yeah, once she gets that fluidity and a little bit more strength in her leg movements and such like that, she's gonna be dynamite. She's, I think, gonna be up there, so for sure. And then the big ending, which was another one that I was waiting to see. And I love this so much because his sister Bindi was there in the ballroom, and she was a previous winner with Mr. Derek Huff, who is now a judge. And that pairing was another one that was one for the record books for sure. Mr. Robert Irwin, and let me say, oh my goodness, has he grown up? My goodness. He's a very good looking young man, and he did absolutely amazing. I'm not overly shocked because that family and their energy and just their presence is enough right there that it's like, okay, they're just gonna automatically reel you in. But he was so amazing. The energy was there. This was another one that I think was like very mid-season-esque dancing. So my goodness, wait till we get to the end of the road. I really think that he is another one that is going to be in the finals, mark my words. And again, I will give you who my thoughts were on just right off the rip from the premiere, who I can see advancing to the finals. But again, there's much more road to go. We'll see how, you know, strengths and weaknesses work out during the season and where we end with that. But I think his legwork needed to be a little bit faster, just a little bit faster. But he's going to follow in the footsteps of Bindi, I think, in this route. I think he's really going to be up there. So, but it was just so much fun to watch him. And he's with little Miss Whitney Carson, and she's so dang cute. I just love her too. His scores were a 7 and an 8. Oh God, this is a tough one. I really feel like I would have thrown up the 8 for him, honestly. He really did a fantastic job, honestly. I'm confident in that. I would definitely sit with an 8, but he did absolutely amazing. All of these celebrities did absolutely amazing. This was probably one of the best season premieres that I have seen in a very long time. Again, kind of took a break over the past few years because just the formatting was a bit much, and some of the changes that they were making, it wasn't sitting right with me. So I couldn't really get into it, but holy cow, for a 20th anniversary kickoff premiere, we are in for a treat, folks. So if I had to give you my top 3 to 4, definitely Robert Irwin is way up there. Yeah, definitely. He's going to be up there. I have a feeling there's that. I'm saying it now. Hilaria, I believe, is going to also be up there as well. I'm also going to say Alex Earl is going to be one of my tops as well. And if I had to go with a 4th, oh my gosh, I don't know. It's so hard. Right off the bat, and again, not seeing who's progressing and, you know, all the season stuff yet. As much as I love my Danielle, I think I would have to give the final spot to Elaine Hendricks. Just the overall dance ability and such like that. I mean, they were very, very similar, and I can't just choose her because, you know, Danielle, because of my childhood and stuff, but I would have to say those are my solid tops for sure. So that's where I'm going to leave it, and we will see what happens throughout the season. I will continue to do these videos each week to see how things are progressing, and just enjoying the fun of the season to come. So I hope you all enjoyed this, and if you're watching along, again, please let me know your thoughts. Put them in the comments, share whatever you think. This is not here obviously for a debate. This is of course all in good fun. So I would love to know what you all are thinking as well throughout this season. So don't forget to follow along on all of our social medias, and subscribe to our channel on YouTube. And until next time, I will see you soon. Bye.